Change begins from within. As easy as it is to look outside of ourselves and want the world to change, the truth is, it never will if we remain the same. This podcast was created for changemakers like you who want more love and connection in your community. Today, you are going to hear stories that will inspire you and also challenge you to be the change. We are going to go deep, my friend. So take a deep breath and settle in. My name is Emilia Tamburini. Welcome to the Circle of Change. Welcome to the end of the winter season here on the Circle of Change, Changemaker. This is our recap episode where we get to wander down memory lane and remember all the brilliance that came our way this season. This way of being, reflecting on how far we've come, is a practice that you can take into your change-making journey so that you don't lose steam in this ongoing, relentless slog up the mountain. Stopping, taking a drink of water, getting some nourishment, and turning around and looking at how far you've come. This is the way we climb the mountain and arrive with good health and well-being. I know when I hike a mountain, I'm always amazed when I have those moments of pause. And doing that here on this show is no different. There are so many great questions for you to consider in your change-making journey in this conversation that we're going to have today. And with a full heart that is bursting with excitement, I'm also going to share with you and invite you to join me for one of my most immersive and impactful programs yet. I am excited about this work that we will do together and would love for you to be a part of it. It would be so cool to be together, wouldn't it? Like to actually see one another. I would love that. I'm also going to share with you our return date, give you a heads up about what to expect in our spring season. And I also have a really big ask of you. So stick around. Let's settle in to this moment right here, right now. Take a deep breath in through your nose, big belly breath. And let out a big sigh. And take another big breath in through your nose, big belly breath. And tap into gratitude for being here, for being alive in this very moment. And one more breath in, thanking the air, the oxygen, for all that it's doing for you in your body as it goes into your lungs and feeds all your blood cells. The poem we are reading today is called What Life Should Be by Pat A. Fleming. To learn while still a child what this life is meant to be, to know it goes beyond myself, it's so much more than me, to overcome the tragedies, to survive the hardest times, to face those moments filled with pain and still manage to be kind, to fight for those who can't themselves, to always share my light with those who wander in the dark, to love with all my might, to still stand up with courage, though standing on my own, to still get up and face each day, even when I feel alone, to try to understand the ones that no one cares to know, and make them feel some value when the world has let them go, to be an anchor, strong and true, that person loyal to the end, to be a constant source of hope to my family and my friends, to live a life of decency, to share my heart and soul, to say I'm sorry when I've harmed both friend and foe, to be proud of who I've tried to be and this life I chose to live, to make the most of every day by giving all I have to give. To me, that's what life should be. To me, that's what it's for. To take what God has given me and make it so much more. To live a life that matters. to be someone of great worth, to love and be loved in return, and make my mark on earth. That is a stunning poem, a beautiful reminder of the simplicity and the profoundness of what life was meant to be. Thank you so much, Pat. What a season we have had together. So many of these conversations are still sticking with me in my heart and shaping how I show up and see the world and myself in it. So let's walk down this memory lane and take an inventory of what we have uncovered together. In episode 57, we were joined by Jill Parker, Les Sylvan, and Renee Stevenson. These three former police officers talked to us about trauma in first responder organizations and how they are transforming the systems from the inside out with mindfulness and meditation practices. This conversation left me with some powerful nuggets. One, that we can train compassion. Two, to consider this change we are in as an evolution, not a revolution. To ask this very powerful question when we're in tricky situations: what else might be true? And as change makers, this is one of the most beautiful definitions of being the change, that we are gentle and relentless about bringing the light to the darkness. I simply love that. In episode 59, Dr. Gans Ferrans joined us and talked to us about the me factor. He really brought home the dire state of burnout in our leaders today and how to help you reduce your stress, improve your relationships, and enjoy this path to success, whatever that looks like for you. The me factor is this brilliant model that we can use to see where we're putting our energy, to really take that inventory and rebalance it around the activities and relationships that feed our soul. Episode 61, we were joined by Sean Smith, my coach, and a leader that I respect. This conversation was all about unbecoming to become your most authentic, joy-filled, and purpose-driven life. This isn't about changing who you are. It's about radically getting to know yourself and letting others know you vulnerably and courageously. In this way, Sean modeled for us the leadership that is required right now for our time. So if you are a leader, a parent, a coach, a person who is looking to live life without regrets, that conversation is for you. And then Michelle Moore joined us in episode 62. She beautifully illustrated for us in her very relatable stories and her ways of being what we're seeking as change makers: to know ourselves with radical honesty and acceptance. All the feedback I received about this episode is that people feel seen and heard and held by this conversation. And that was true for me too. So if you're on the path or curious about the path of self-development and what becomes possible when we say yes to that, take this conversation in. You and I began in a very intimate circle where we spoke about the yin and the yang and the light and the dark of this winter season and reframing our relationship with failure. The work of the changemaker is to get intimate with this facet of life and build a supportive relationship with it so that we can keep evolving. I shared with you the many ups and downs of my year and how embracing a new relationship with failure is not about spiritually bypassing the hard feelings that come with that. On the contrary, it is making space for them so that you can move them through your body. And I gave you a process to support you in that journey to reclaim failure as a sign of your courageous journey. In episode 58, that was a gift from my heart to yours. So if you feel like you need a moment of being recognized for the work that you're doing in the world and what it takes to show up like you do, please head there and listen to I See You. I honor you and respect you, Changemaker, and I hope you really feel that in that conversation. And then finally, we ended with a dialogue on two topics that I love: communication and perspective. I shared a recent experience writing a letter to express my needs, what prevented me from doing that. And then I gave you a process for sharing the facts of a situation with somebody without getting emotionally bogged down. I don't think I'm the only one that works with this. So we also reframed difficult conversations into more empowering language so that we can step in with more ease and grace. This is such an essential skill that we need today as we evolve. Wow. It's been a winter ride. It truly amazes me every season, the depth and the variety of topics that we cover. The change makers we get to sit with here in Circle are such beautiful examples of what is required to be the change. And I'm so grateful for their leadership and willingness to share their wisdom with us in this space. What stood out for me this season as a thread was the importance of taking honest inventories. How are we looking at the world? How is it that we are seeing what is before us at any given moment? And then courageously doing the work to unpack it, to unbecome it, and create new habits, new ways of seeing the world, and new knowledge of ourselves so that we can stand in who we are and live beautiful, change making lives that are impactful and also wholesome and nourishing. That is the way forward as change makers. This might be a good time to take a moment and reflect on your own journey over the winter season. We still have a month to go, but take a moment and transition back into the beginning or the middle of December as the solstice was coming in. What were you feeling then? How were you looking at situations in your life? And in what ways have things shifted? What new ideas are being birthed that weren't there? What new relationships are blossoming? And which ones are falling away? I'm encouraging you to do this work because it's important to deepen our trust in the universal wisdom, to let go of the reins more and fully embrace the fact that we are always being guided and that we do not hold the bigger picture. Because if we did, I think we'd be overwhelmed and we'd all just crawl into holes. The path is given to us in perfect increments. Sometimes it's a lesson we need to learn to prepare us for what's next. Sometimes it's a new opportunity that's going to stretch us and connect us with people that we need to be connected with for our next step. Whatever it is that you are experiencing, remember that you have control over how you perceive it, and that perception controls your experience of it and then how you respond. So look at your life right now. Take a moment to take inventory of how it is you're feeling about what is here in this moment. And if it's not feeling so good, perhaps bring back that beautiful question the police officers left us with, which was, what else could be true? And see if that shifts or allows for a shift in your perspective at all. And please share with us all and any and whatever is in your heart that you want to share from this winter season. I love, love, love hearing your reflections. Now, if you want to do this work together, this is where it gets really exciting. I am launching our Reclaim Your Life Force program on April 13th. This program, my friend, is for changemakers like you who want to decolonize their ways of creating change in the world. Here's the thing. I have been noticing that we are really good at creating new policies and programs, especially around inclusion, diversity, reconciliation. But we're generally doing that in the same bodies with the same ways of being that created the problems in the first place. It's a lot of working to change things outside of ourselves versus inside of ourselves. So I want to bring us together in this program to take honest inventory of how we are being in our life journeys, to deepen our understanding of how we got here, to learn new ways of being together, that will bring about the change quicker with less effort and in more loving and compassionate ways. You'll leave with so many tools that you can bring into your life, your organization, and your communities to transform your lives together. For those who complete this online program, the first portion of Reclaim Your Life Force, you'll be invited to then join me for an in-person retreat where we reflect on how this work went for us. We'll continue to decolonize and chart a new path forward and connect with the land that holds all the wisdom that we could possibly need. My hope is that you, as a change maker, get to leave these experiences with a revitalized life force energy, that you leave with deep connection with a community of other change makers, and that you'll have lots of tools and ways of being that you can bring into your workplaces, your families, your communities to revise the path forward and create change in powerful ways that we have not yet tapped into on a collective level. I am so excited about this program. It feels like it's one of those moments in life where I'm reflecting back, taking inventory of my life and all the experiences, the teachings, the lessons I've learned, the trainings, the wisdom teachers, the spiritual knowledge keepers that I've had the opportunity to learn from. It's taking everything and channeling it into this experience for change makers so that we can be the change, but learn how to do that together in supporting, loving, and compassionate ways. Yes. So, if you are interested in this experience, please make sure that you are signed up for either our newsletter at Hum Consulting or the weekly reminders for the podcast episode. And you can find both of those at humconsulting.ca, because we're going to be announcing all the registration details. And this podcast is taking a break, our spring break, until March 30th. So much of that information will be coming out between now and then. So make sure that you're connected with me in some way, whether it's the newsletters, the weekly reminders for the podcast, or on LinkedIn. Speaking of honest conversations and inventory, I'm in a moment of curiosity about the future of this podcast. On one hand, I'm getting so many signs that we're creating something meaningful and we're really at this high point in our journey so far. It's exciting, the guests that we're welcoming to this show that are wanting to be with us here in Circle. And so much of the feedback and our reach is growing bigger and bigger and bigger, which is what we want here. On the other hand, this show and the way in which we produce it, which really requires high quality sound and production quality, is in this moment financially not sustainable. So instead of keeping that information to myself, I am putting it out to you, to our community of supporters, to see if you have any wonderful ideas about how to keep this show going in the robust way that we have so far. So, full transparency, it costs us about $7,000 a year minimum to produce this show. And for the last 2 years, that has come out of my pocket, and I have gratefully done that. And that's not in the bank at this moment. So, my question for you is, who do you know that aligns with our mission that may want to support this podcast? You know, $7,000 is pocket change for many people. So who are you connected to that might have some pocket change that they want to put towards something that is making a difference in the world? Or perhaps there's an organization that aligns with our mission that you would like to see profiled, or they would enjoy being profiled on our show. So let us know. Think broadly, creatively, boldly, and send us an email to podcast@humconsulting.ca. Feel free to connect us with folks if that is a possibility for you, and or just send names and ideas that you have. So we would love to receive any and all of that information. I'm really trying to do this in ways that are not standard. And so I really am looking forward to hearing your creative ideas so that we can co-create the future of this podcast together. Thank you so much, Changemaker. It does take a village, and I love that we're on this journey together. We'll be back on March 30th with the spring season, and we're starting with a conversation you don't want to miss because it highlights what is possible when Indigenous and non-Indigenous partners come together and do the work to be in relationship with each other. It's a model that I support in my work as a consultant, and I'm delighted to bring you this story. In the meantime, catch up on all the episodes you missed out on, enjoy the space and the in-between time. We are about to launch into the initiation season of spring. So if you are feeling tired right now, remind yourself that we are still in the winter season and find ways to give yourself some rest so that you are ready to go. Personally, I'm headed down to the desert for a week to soak up some California sunshine and warmth. And I can't wait to unplug and soak in some nature and take in all this information that I've been collecting over the past few weeks and let it turn into the creation that it is meant to be. Remember to sign up for our newsletter, write us a review, share any insight you would like with us, and we would love to have you join us in these upcoming life-changing events, so be connected. Until the spring, please take care. I love you. Remember that you are divinely perfect, just as you are. Ciao. I'm now passing the talking piece to you. If you feel called to put your voice in the circle, please head to humconsulting.ca/podcast and share your story there. I cannot wait to hear what has come up for you as you have listened to what has been shared here today. I wish you love and joy beyond your wildest imagination. Thank you so much for being here in the Circle of Change. I also want to express my gratitude to the following peeps. Circle of Change is recorded on the ʷəŋən territories, and I am so grateful to live on this land. Our opening and closing music was created by the talented E-Roll Beats. You can find his creations at erollbeats.com. And special thanks to my coach, Mary Chan of Organized Sound Productions, for bringing this podcast to life. Until next time, ciao.